important joggers and jovially berating cyclists. Every landmark had a dismal echo, but I was drawn back again all the same. The resident grey lady, idly roaming. There was a certain oak tree we used to visit. Leo liked its gnarled old trunk and said it was a Quercus version of him, increasingly craggy in old age. I would no doubt have spent hours standing there wool-gathering that day, but was distracted by a child who sounded like my Arthur. A boy of his age was tugging his mother fretfully as she read a notice pinned to the railings that circle each lake. Moving closer, I pretended to read it. "Mummy!" He had strawberry blonde locks and biscuit crumbs at the corner of his mouth that begged to be wiped away. Children are so beautiful, flawless and shiny, like a conker newly out of its shell. Such a shame they all grow up to be abominable adults. If only we could preserve that giddy with possibility wiring, everything greeted with an open embrace. "Geez, just give me a break," said the mother, in a broad Irish accent, batting him off. She had dyed red hair, and I loathed her instantly. She glanced sideways at me, the old crone leering at her son, and I resumed my faux study of the notice. "What do you think, Oat?" Oat? Good Lord, people today. "They're going to electrocute the fish. Wanna watch?" The park caretakers needed to move the fish from one lake to the other, which required them to be stunned. Electro-fishing. I'd never seen or heard of such a thing, nor did it seem particularly interesting. But maybe if I could see Oat again, then the tightness I'd felt in my gullet since Ally and Arthur got on the plane might ease a little. It would be something to do, after all. Since that afternoon a week ago, I'd changed my mind half a dozen times, dwelling on the decision as only the terminally bored and insecure can. In the end, I decided to go so that there would be something to tell Alistair about. My life had become so circumscribed I'd grown worried he might think me trivial, and I only read the papers, including the obituaries, so that I knew what he was talking about when he mentioned a politician's gaffe or asked which new plays were on in the West End. I could tell Ally was impressed when I went to the Turner exhibition, so the 3 buses in the rain were worth it. Seeing some carp get electrocuted wasn't quite the dazzling metropolitan excursion, but it was better than nothing. So there I was, off to see the fish stunning in my best winter coat, already drafting the email I would write on my return. Perhaps I might bump into little Otis and feed the ducks with him, and queue up with his mother for a coffee, and... I ran adrift at this point, and nearly turned back, but by then my legs were stiffening up in the cold, and the bench by the lakes was nearest. A small group had gathered to watch. Someone was handing out croissants, and when one was offered, I took it, not because I was hungry, but just grateful to be noticed. I put it to my lips and remembered a time in Paris with Leo, when we'd had pain au chocolat on the banks of the Seine, and then went to a bookshop where he'd disappeared up a rickety staircase while I petted a cat curled on a battered sofa, picked shards of pastry out of my teeth, and worried which hand I was using to do which. They smelt of chocolate and cat for the rest of the day because we couldn't find anywhere to wash. My eyes filled with tears. Leo and I would never go to Paris again, even though it wasn't a particularly pleasant memory, as I found the city dirty and unfriendly. There were no green spaces, and despite Leo speaking fluent French, they used to curl their lips at him because he never sounded anything but English and as puffed up as their croissant. I swayed and sank onto the bench, blinking and fighting the breathlessness, until a warm patrician voice said, "Oh, my love, don't look so horrified. They're not Greg's or anything. I made them myself." A middle-aged woman with eyes like berries was smiling down at me, waving a napkin.